Imagine signing a commercial lease for your business only to discover one sneaky clause buried on page 25 of your lease that forces you to pay $40,000 for a new HVAC system just a few months into your lease. In this video, I'm going to expose the hidden traps in commercial leases and show you how to protect yourself before you sign. After watching this, you'll know exactly what to look for in your lease and how to negotiate like a pro. My name is Bashoy Habib, and I'm the realest real estate attorney you know. Over the past 12 years, I've closed over 1,000 transactions totaling $12 billion. I've reviewed hundreds of commercial leases, and I can tell you firsthand, the fine print of the lease can make or break your entire business. First, let's talk about the use clause. This seemingly straightforward paragraph defines exactly what you can and can't do in your space. For example, if you are a sandwich shop, it might state something like, tenants shall use the premises for operation of a restaurant specializing in sandwiches, including hot and cold sandwiches, wraps, salads, and soups. Most tenants just accept whatever the landlord gives them, but that's a huge mistake. As a tenant, you need to ensure it's as broad as possible, which allows you to grow as a business without getting the landlord's permission or potentially violating any exclusive rights of other tenants. Let's say your sandwich shop decided to start selling smoothies. This could potentially be a breach of your lease, believe it or not. And if there's a Smoothie King in your plaza, you could be in violation of their exclusive rights to sell smoothies in that plaza. Even though your intentions were good, you're still in breach, and there are often penalties in the lease. That's why the use clause is so critical. Now let's dive into the most expensive trap I see commercial tenants fall into: operating expenses, or what we call CAM charges, which stands for Common Area Maintenance. You might budget for $5,000 in rent, but surprise, CAM and other charges add $2,000 a month. I've seen businesses forced to close because they didn't budget for these hidden costs. Here's what landlords don't tell you. CAM charges can include everything from property taxes and insurance to management fees and redoing the parking lot. And here's the kicker. Most leases are set up so that charges can increase every single year with no limit. So the key here is to cap your annual CAM increases as much as possible. That way, it doesn't double from year to year, which could destroy your cash flows as a tenant. A 3% to 5% annual cap is what I usually shoot for. Also, watch out for what we call a gross-up provision. This lets the landlord charge you as if the building were fully occupied, even when it's half empty. I've seen tenants get blindsided by this. Suddenly, they're paying a full share of expenses, even though the building is half vacant. By the way, if you like this content, you should check out my school community, which is 100% free to join. It has tons of educational videos, contract templates, checklists, and even live Q&A sessions with me. All you have to do is click the link in the description below. Here's something most tenants completely miss: exclusivity clauses. If you're opening a gym, you probably don't want your landlord putting a competing fitness center right next door, right? But here's the key. You need to specifically define what counts as a competing business. I had a client who one time said no other gyms in their lease, only to have the landlord lease to a wellness center that was basically a gym with a different name. So instead of saying no other gyms in your lease, your exclusivity clause might read something like this: landlord shall not lease to any business whose primary purpose includes fitness training, weight training, cardio equipment, group exercise classes, personal training, CrossFit, yoga, Pilates, martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, or any other physical fitness activities. This restriction includes businesses operating as health clubs, fitness centers, wellness centers, training facilities, exercise studios, or any other facility where physical exercise or training is conducted, regardless of the marketing term or business names used. Do you see the difference? Which one do you think protects you better? Let's talk about personal guarantees. These few paragraphs can destroy your personal life if you're not careful. When you sign a personal guarantee, you're telling the landlord, if my business can't pay, you can come after my house, my car, my bank accounts, basically everything I own. A lot of landlords will tell you that personal guarantees are standard and non-negotiable, but that's not true, because everything in life is negotiable. I see tenants negotiate better guarantee terms all the time because I help them. And here's what you need to know. First of all, try to push for a burning or rolling guarantee that goes away after a certain period of time, 2 or 3 years of on-time payments. If the landlord won't agree to that, at least cap the guarantee to a specific dollar amount, maybe 12 months of rent. Another option is a good guy guarantee, where your personal liability ends when you properly surrender the space. But watch out, because some landlords sneak in language making you personally liable for the entire lease even after you leave. Finally, let's talk about a clause that makes me angry: the relocation clause. This is a sneaky provision that most tenants don't realize can destroy their business overnight. Imagine spending a couple $100,000 building out your perfect location. It has great foot traffic and visibility. You've developed a loyal customer base until boom, your landlord tells you they're moving you to a different space because they found someone willing to pay more for your spot. And guess what? Without the right protections, this is completely legal. It's called relocation. Now, if you're a small tenant in a big building or plaza, the landlord may not be willing to completely remove the relocation clause. So you want to make sure it's at least as fair as possible to you. Here's what the relocation clause should say. First, the new space must be comparable or better in size, visibility, and location. Second, the landlord should pay all relocation costs. Not just moving expenses, but new signage, marketing materials, build-out costs, everything. Third, your rent should be reduced if the new space is less desirable. And most importantly, you need the right to terminate the lease with no penalty if you don't like the new space. Be careful for landlords who give themselves unlimited relocation rights or who only offer to pay reasonable moving costs. I always tell my clients, either get the clause removed completely or make it so expensive for the landlord that they'll only use it as a last resort. Remember, a commercial lease, just like everything else in life, is negotiable, but it all comes down to your leverage. How much does the landlord need you? How badly do you want the space? What other options do you have? These are all factors in how hard you can push the landlord. But at the end of the day, you should try to avoid accepting what the landlord gives you as is. At the very least, hire an experienced real estate attorney to review and ensure that the lease is reasonable given the circumstances. Yes, it costs money, but I promise it's a fraction of what you could lose if things go wrong. If you like this video and want to learn more about protecting yourself in commercial real estate, make sure to join my school community through the link below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.